Good afternoon, and welcome to the New York City Council Committee on Immigration and Women and Gender Equity. At this time, please place all phones on vibrate or on silent mode. If you want to submit testimony, send it to testimony@council.nyc.gov. Once again, that's testimony@council.nyc.gov. At this time, during this hearing, do not approach the dais. Thank you for your cooperation. Chairs, we are ready to begin.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Councilmember Shahana Hanif, Chair of the Committee on Immigration. Thank you for joining today's joint hearing with the Committee on Women and Gender Equity to discuss access to child care for immigrants in New York City and the urgent need to invest $20 million into the Promise NYC program in fiscal year 2024. I'd like to begin by thanking Women and Gender Equity Chair Tiffany Caban for her support putting this hearing together. I want to thank my council colleagues, representatives from the administration, child care providers, and the public for being here in the chambers with us or participating remotely over Zoom. Last year, the administration and the council invested $10 million to launch Promise NYC, a new program to provide child care for immigrant families who would be otherwise ineligible for other existing childcare options due to their immigration status. This program was announced this time last year before New York welcomed almost 70,000 asylum seekers. The dramatic spike in the number of recent arrivals has created a significantly higher than anticipated demand and made the program even more critical. The initial $10 million investment has been extremely fruitful, allowing approximately 600 families to secure childcare for 6 months, from January to June of this year. For children, this access has provided emotional and social support that benefits their development. For parents and guardians, this access has given them freedom to work and provide for their families. The council is united in calling for a $20 million investment in FY24 so that the program can continue year-round. ACS, its partner agencies, and the 4 contracted providers, Northern Manhattan Improvement Corporation, the Center for Family Life Chinese American Planning Council, and La Colmena have done exceptional work in successfully operationalizing this program over a short period of time. We look forward to hearing their testimony this afternoon. However, despite the success of the program, the need to continue it year-round, and the increased demand due to the arrival of asylum seekers, the administration failed to include any funding for Promise NYC in its executive budget released in May. Given the administration's admirable advocacy for work authorization for asylum seekers, it is befuddling that they are threatening to cut the resource that allows our newest New Yorkers, especially those who are women, to go to work. This program is an economic driver that will make asylum seekers more self-sufficient and less reliant on costly city-funded shelter beds. The council was encouraged during the Committee on Finance's executive budget hearing when Budget Director Jack Jiha testified that the administration intended to work with the council to renew this program. We hope that today they will follow up with a firm commitment to continue this program year-round. I want to thank all the committee staff for their work on this issue, including Jayashree Ganapathy, Senior Legislative Counsel, Rebecca Barilla, Policy Analyst, Brenda McKinney, Senior Legislative Counsel, Christy Dwyer, Senior Policy Analyst, Florentine Cabore, Principal Finance Analyst, and Krillian Francisco, Assistant Director. I would also like to thank my staff, Legislative Director Alex Liao, Communications Director Michael Whitesides, and Chief of Staff Nora Brickner, the Sergeants at Arms, the interpreters, and all other staff working to make this joint hearing run smoothly. Now I will turn it over to Councilmember Caban for her opening statement.
Thank you, Chair Hanif. My name is Tiffany Caban. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the chair of the Committee on Women and Gender Equity. And I'd like to begin by thanking my colleague, Chair Shahana Hanif from the Committee on Immigration for holding this important hearing with me today. We know how important high-quality childcare is for children, their families, and our city's economy, and the public safety and public health outcomes we all need and deserve. And yet few people today are able to pay the high cost of childcare services available to them. Simply put, the cost of childcare is just too high for most working-class families to afford. for most working families to afford. And what's worse, in the mayor's executive budget, public support for childcare and pre-K is going in the wrong direction, defunding, not enhanced investment. Of particular concern is the fate of Promise NYC, a program we fought for and won just 1 year ago after the state specifically excluded undocumented kids from childcare subsidies. Last year, the city devoted $10 million to this program. That lasted 6 months and only for a few hundred families. Given the full year funding we need for a significantly increased population of undocumented children, owing also in part to our recently arrived and, might I say, welcome asylum seekers and migrants, $20 million is the bare minimum we need to sustain this vital program. We were encouraged to hear that OMB wants to fund this program. We are nevertheless very concerned that the executive budget allocates $0 to continuing this program, which would leave hundreds of families without childcare access less than 3 weeks from today. Promise NYC is about nurturing every child's promise to be an important part of our city, and so let's keep our promise to them. I'd like to thank my own staff, Celia Castellan, my chief of staff, Jesse Meyerson, my communications director, Madhuri Shukla, my legislative and budget director, as well as our committee staff, senior committee counsel Brenda McKinney, senior legislative policy analyst Christy Dwyer for their work on this hearing, and I'll turn it back over to Chair Hanif now.
Thank you so much. I want to acknowledge that we've been joined by council members Kevin Riley and Sandra Ang. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Hanif. Before we begin today's hearing, I will let you know my name is Jayshree Ganapathy. I am counsel to the Committee on Immigration. And for those of you who are joining us via Zoom, I just would like to remind you that you will be on mute until you are called on to testify. I'll be calling on public witnesses to testify at the conclusion of the administration's testimony and council member questions. So please listen carefully for your name at that time. Council members, you will be called on for questions after the full administration panel has completed testimony. We will be limiting council member questions to 3 minutes. And please note, for the purposes of this hearing, we do allow a second round of questioning. We will actually be calling one public witness to testify in advance of the administration. At this time, we will call Nadine Almanzar to testify. You can get started whenever you're ready. You just push the microphone so the red light's on.
Okay, is it on? It's on, yes, okay. Good afternoon. My name is Nadine Almanzar. My pronouns are she, her. I am here as an advocate representing the Promise NYC program, a program that subsidizes childcare for undocumented children in New York City. For nearly 6 months, I've been working on the front lines with the Promise NYC program in the borough of Queens. In the past months, our city has experienced an unprecedented influx of asylum-seeking families with children. These families have been forced by socio-political factors beyond their control to flee violence, unrest, and dire circumstances in their home countries in search of a safe and stable future for their children. These families need to access employment in order to sustain themselves and contribute to our city. In order to work, parents need affordable childcare. Let me be perfectly clear, access to affordable childcare saves lives and creates futures. One mother enrolled in our program explained that she and her children came to the US in order to escape life-threatening shortages of medications that they faced in Venezuela. Her oldest child would have died without access to medications and treatment. There was no time to wait for immigration processes. Now, undocumented in the US and seeking asylum, she is relying on Promise NYC so that she can access childcare for her children and thus access employment and income to support her family, while also making sure that her oldest child receives the medical attention that he needs. This is just one of many stories. Right now, Promise NYC is not accounted for in the 2024 fiscal year budget. That means that Promise NYC and access to childcare for these families will end on June 30th. We are asking for $20 million in the 2024 fiscal year budget in order to allow this program to continue serving this community and these families. Thank you.
Thank you, Nadine. We really appreciate your commitment to ensuring that our undocumented families have access, and we are just thrilled to hear this testimony and why this program is life-saving, according to your testimony. Could you describe what the impact of discontinuing Promise NYC would mean for the current families? And I'd also love for you to walk us through what the outreach has looked like to inform families that this program exists. Thank you, and I'd love to open it up to my colleagues for questions as well.
Thank you, and thank you for the work that you're doing. I know that you spoke a bit about one participant's experience, but can you describe a few more of the success stories you have heard about firsthand from the folks that you're working with? And then also the other side of the coin, sort of what are some of the biggest issues and challenges you find with the program as it exists?
Yes, so I will address Ms. Hanif's questions first. To be quite frank, discontinuing the program would be devastating for these families. It would be traumatic for these children who have already endured great traumas getting to the United States, immigrating to the United States. Who have just found a sense of place and a sense of self in the child care facilities. And discontinuing this program would mean that their parents would not be able to afford continuing to have them in those centers, and they would again be displaced in another way. So it would be quite frankly traumatic for these children. And we see so many stories. We've done outreach at many of the shelters that have popped up all over Queens that have provided refuge to these families with young children. We have done outreach via social media and have found different ways to make sure that these families feel comfortable and feel safe reaching out to us and accessing this help. I'm sorry, can you repeat your questions, please?
Yes, I'd just love to, you talked about one of the participants, but I'd love to hear some more stories. I know that there are folks here to testify, but I know that there are many people who have benefited from this program. If there are any that stand out to you, I'd love to hear more about them. And then in addition, sort of what have been some of the biggest issues and challenges that with the, I hope, the continuation of this program that we can do to strengthen it going forward.
Yes, we see a lot of single mothers who have immigrated with their children. We have participants who are survivors of domestic violence and who rely on this program in order to access employment and income and safety and stability for themselves and their children. We see, couples who have immigrated with young children because they're fleeing violence in their countries of origin and come to the U.S. Trying to make a life for themselves and find safety for themselves and their children. There are hundreds of stories, and these are folks who are coming in search of the American dream and in search of stability and safety and a future for their children. And in terms of improving the program, I think the $20 million is a great place to start. And that would enable the program to continue, which is really what we need and what these families need, is that sense of stability.
Thank you so much, Nadine. Your comments really address the real issues of what is foundational for stable communities, and discontinuing childcare access to our newest neighbors would be absolutely traumatizing and destabilizing. So thank you so much for your work. Do my colleagues have any questions? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I will call up the administration witnesses to testify. We have Elizabeth Wolkamir, Deputy Commissioner, Division of Child and Family Wellbeing at ACS. And for Q&A, we have Michelle Page, Executive Director of the Office of Child Care and Early Childhood Education, Melissa Aviles Ramos, Chief of Staff for the New York City Public Schools, DOE, and Jadina Clanton, Senior Director of Policy, Research, and Special Projects, Division of Early Childhood Education at DOE. If you could please raise your right hands. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth before these committees, and to respond honestly to council member questions?
Yes.
Thank you. You can begin when you're ready.
Good afternoon. I'm Elizabeth Wolkamir. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the Deputy Commissioner for the Division of Child and Family Wellbeing at the Administration for Children's Services. I want to thank Chair Hanif, Chair Kaban, and the other members of the Committees on Immigration and Women and Gender Equity for holding this hearing on access to child care for immigrants. It's a critical topic, and I'm glad to be here joined with colleagues from the Mayor's Office of Child Care and Early Childhood Education, as well as New York City Public Schools, to discuss it today. The division that I lead focuses on investing in families and communities, including through the provision of assistance to help families cover the cost of childcare. With the support of child care vouchers, parents and caregivers can pursue work, education, and stable housing, knowing their children are in safe and developmentally appropriate care. Much of the subsidized care in New York City for low-income families is funded by the New York State Child Care Block Grant, or CCBG. As the local social service district, ACS is responsible for administering CCBG, which supports a part of the city's contracted child care system administered by New York City Public Schools, as well as child care vouchers issued by ACS and the New York City Human Resources Administration. The block grant is a mix of federal and state funds and therefore is constrained by relevant federal and state laws and regulations. Unlike federally funded education, federally funded public benefits, which includes child care subsidies, are limited to citizens and individuals that qualify as a result of certain immigration statuses, such as refugees and legal permanent residents. These rules are based on the federal 1996 Personal Responsibility and Work Opportunity Reconciliation Act, which is commonly known as welfare reform. As you know, the governor committed to providing New York City with approximately $4 billion over the next 4 years in CCBG funding to support child care assistance in New York City. This is a vital investment, but based on federal rules, these funds cannot support many of our neighbors whose children lack qualified immigration status, including many of the asylum seekers that have arrived in the city over the last months. Importantly, to receive CCBG-funded child care assistance, it is only the child for whom a family is seeking care that must meet these criteria. This means many immigrant parents are able to receive child care assistance through contracted or voucher care if their child was born in the United States or has another qualified status. In addition, the city has several options for children that do not meet criteria for CCBG-funded subsidies based on their immigration status. New York City Public Schools operates a continuum of pre-K and 3K programs that are available to children without regard for citizenship or immigration status. In addition, the city's Head Start and Early Head Start programs, both those administered by NYCPS and direct federal grantees, are also an important part of the early childhood continuum because they are educational programs. They also do not have an immigration or citizenship eligibility requirement. These programs are a lifeline to immigrant families. However, to adequately support this population, we desperately need changes to federal rules. I urge you as council members to also push our federal partners to revisit the laws that prevent many children, particularly undocumented children, from receiving CCBG-funded child care assistance. As you also know, in the fiscal year 2023 adopted city budget, ACS received $10 million of one-year city funding to create a new program for children who, as a result of their immigration status, are ineligible for state and federally funded child care assistance. This funding was used to create Promise NYC. ACS used the first 5 to 6 months of the fiscal year to develop the program, to contract with 4 community-based organizations, each with deep ties to the immigrant communities in their respective boroughs, and to support the CBOs as they hired and trained staff, developed policies and procedures for Promise NYC, and rolled out their programs. The CBOs operating Promise NYC are Chinese American Planning Council in Queens, La Colmena in Staten Island, the Center for Family Life in Brooklyn, and NIMIC in both the Bronx and Manhattan. The funding provided to the CBOs pays for both the administrative costs of running the new program and for childcare subsidies during the latter 6 months of the fiscal year. Eligibility for Promise NYC is based on a child's age as well as the family's income and residency. Like the federally funded child care voucher program ACS administers, Promise NYC serves children living in New York City ages 0 to 13 years old from families earning under 300% of the federal poverty level. All 4 Promise NYC programs launched between late December 2022 and January 2023. The 4 CBOs implementing Promise NYC are responsible for serving families across the borough they were respectively contracted to serve. They have conducted outreach to the target population, completed screening and made eligibility determinations, and supported families eligible for Promise NYC in finding and securing child care enrollment. Families receiving Promise NYC subsidies could use the support to enroll their children at any licensed center-based or registered home-based provider across the city. Once children are enrolled in care with a Promise NYC subsidy, CBOs make monthly payments directly to child care providers. CBO staff were also trained in the full continuum of child care available in New York City, and when they encountered families eligible for other types of child care assistance, they connected them to those programs. As a result of their efforts, by the end of April, we had met our target of reaching over 600 children enrolled in child care with the support of a subsidy from Promise NYC. About 70% of the children enrolled are ages 0 through 4 years old. The subsidy Promise NYC provides covers the full cost of care at the provider of the caregiver's choice up to $700 per week. With only a few exceptions, this has meant that Promise NYC covers the full cost of care for nearly all participants. The 4 CBOs implementing Promise NYC have been invaluable partners driving the success of this program. We're deeply grateful for their commitment to Promise NYC and the children, families, and communities they support. And I want to take this moment to publicly thank them for the partnership they have fostered both with ACS and with one another over the past year to design and launch this program in an extremely condensed timeline, which is truly exemplary. ACS is extremely appreciative to Mayor Adams, the City Council, our contracted partners, and the many other city stakeholders that were involved in making Promise NYC a success. We look forward to the outcome of the ongoing FY24 budget discussions between the administration and City Council. We also continue to hope that our collaborative advocacy can bring change at the federal level so that we do not need to rely alone on city funds for child care assistance for this population and can more adequately support the families that need it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for being here with us. Deeply appreciate your testimony. To kick us off, I just want some clarity. So there is no commitment at this time for a reinstatement of the Promise NYC program.
The budget process is discussions are ongoing, as you well know, and we're in close communication with both City Hall and OMB about the future of this program. So we are looking forward to the outcome of those discussions.
And are you able to share if those negotiations have included the call for $20 million, a doubling of what we began with to really ensure the scope of the need is covered?
I'm not able to share any specifics about the discussions, but the discussion about the budget is ongoing.
So to backtrack a bit, could you walk us through the timeline in getting the program operationalized? We are really fortunate to have had ACS as a partner and commend the ways in which the agency has worked very diligently with our providers to get the program up and running. And we thank you for prioritizing childcare for immigrant New Yorkers and for running an effective and culturally competent program. And so this partnership is one that I really want to uplift and acknowledge as one of the successes of all of our first year in office and in such a politically tumultuous time as we continue to welcome asylum seeker families. So I'd love to know just from the beginning what it looked like to get this operationalized, and then ACS's role in administering Promise NYC.
Certainly. So as you noted earlier, we received the funding as of July 1st of last year, so about a year ago now. ACS worked with our procurement partner, internal procurement partners, as well as MOX to identify a pathway for an expedited procurement process, and then identified objective criteria by which we could select CBO partners that were going to have the capacity and the experience to be able to get this program off the ground. So we were able to complete those contracts in a very timely manner in the first half of the year. We then worked with their community-based organization partners to design the program. We had weekly collaborative sessions to talk through what policy and all of the instruments from screening to applications to what the enrollment with childcare providers would look like on the ground. So we built that program over the first 6 months, and then, as I said, all of the programs launched between the end of December and throughout the month of January, where they began screening, determining eligibility, and ultimately supporting families toward enrollment in childcare.
And what are some of the successes of the program?
I think that we are thrilled that by the end of April, from launching in January to the end of April, that we had hit our target of enrolling 600 children with the support of a subsidy from Promise NYC in care. We also learned a lot as we moved through this process. I think one of the things that became very clear and where the CBO partnership was extremely valuable is that families in general need some support navigating the childcare landscape in New York City, and that's especially true for families that may have limited English proficiency, that may have just arrived in the city, and that really don't know the landscape. And so having that support directly from the community-based organizations that are trusted partners on the ground to help them find childcare was really critical and a huge success of this program and an enormous learning. We also really learned that childcare providers needed to hear from ACS and understand what this program was and that it was backed by the city. And so we were able to successfully communicate to childcare providers on the ground, and our CBO partners were really able to build partnerships with local, culturally competent childcare providers that were selected by families that were eligible for Promise NYC.
Absolutely, and what we heard during Nadine's testimony is exactly the strength and what the deep collaboration meant for the families, and a discontinuation of the program is going to be traumatizing, and another layer of trauma after giving some of these families an opportunity to heal or to feel encouraged that the city will be taking care of their children while they figure out what it will look like to succeed in a very difficult to navigate, language inaccessible city. And so I'm trying to understand the rationale, because I'm hearing you really speak to the highlights, the benefits of this program that is so unique to New York City, and really we should be leading these kinds of programs. And so I'm trying to understand why there isn't a commitment, and I totally hear the piece about negotiations being underway. But could you speak a little bit more about what ACS is doing, or in relationship with other agencies and mayoral offices, to bolster the necessity of Promise NYC?
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned, we're definitely in discussion with City Hall and with OMB. We have shared the findings that we're sharing here today with all parties that are involved in discussions around the budget. So I think that we have made folks aware of what the program has looked like on the ground, what we've been able to achieve over the last year.
Understood. I mean, we have been hearing feedback from providers, and we were just at a rally earlier this afternoon to hear from them, and their feedback is that this is a lifeline, and this is a necessity, and discontinuing this program will be really harmful as students get more acquainted with the city, as young people find their voice in this city. And so we urge this partnership to continue. We urge the expansion of this program to reach more providers and to reach more families, of course. Are you able to share some of the enrollment data with us? Particularly, I'm interested in the families, the children on the wait list. Are there families on the wait list that are directed anywhere else? How many children have been served to date? And then the target number of children by June 30th, and then the number of children on the waiting list.
So I'll take those in a little bit backward order, which is that the target for the year for June 30th was 600 children. Today we have 660, or as of the beginning of June, I should say, we have 664 children enrolled in care with the support of a Promise NYC subsidy. ACS doesn't maintain a wait list for the program, so I can't speak to those numbers. I do know, however, that some of our community-based organization partners do keep lists of families that are interested who may be eligible or potentially eligible, so that if appropriate in the future, they can make contact with those families, but I don't have numbers on a wait list.
Okay, I can be sure to have that conversation with the providers during their testimony. And then would the providers be more familiar with where else families on the wait list are directed to?
So they can certainly speak more to it as well, but as I mentioned in my testimony, we were really conscious of ensuring that the CBO providers were trained on the full continuum of childcare options in the city, so that when families are eligible for a federally or state-funded voucher or contracted seat, that they could be directed there, because as I mentioned, the child's immigration status is what matters for purposes of eligibility there. We also made sure that our CBO partners were well aware that the school day 3K and pre-K continuum is available to this population, as well as Head Start and Early Head Start, and so I know that they have been making referrals to families and discussing with families their full set of options.
Okay, so I know you said that the target number is 600. How many have 600 children been served to date?
Yes, there are over 600 children enrolled today.
Do you have a full?
664.
664, okay, incredible. I want to acknowledge that we've been joined by council members Althea Stevens and Jennifer Gutierrez. And for folks tuning in, this is a joint hearing between Immigration, Committee on Women and Gender Equity on childcare options for immigrant families with a focus on Promise NYC. Could you share the overall feedback you've received from the 4 contracted borough-based providers?
Absolutely. We're in weekly conversation with them, so they've been coming to us with successes and challenges all along the way, some of which I reflected to you. I think that I certainly don't want to speak for them, but I know that they have expressed that this program has been extremely valuable as they've been working with community members, and as you heard previously from Nadine.
And then the overall feedback from participating childcare sites.
We don't have direct contact with the childcare sites, so I don't have direct feedback on that.
Okay. I have a few more questions, but I'll turn it over to Councilmember Caban and then to some of our colleagues.
Thank you, and thank you for being here. I want to start by saying that this program has been one of the biggest points of pride doing this work. I know that that is the case for many of the people in your agency as well. It has been super critical, absolutely life-changing, and I have not hesitated every single time ACS has been before this body to say how impressed and grateful I am with the work that you have done with Promise NYC. It is just, in partnership with the community-based organizations, been incredible. I will say, though, that the testimony given today has such a different tone than the testimony given by Commissioner Danhauser at the executive budget hearings. And I think it's important to put on the record some of the contrast, because when he testified at the executive budget hearing, he lifted up Promise NYC as, again, something that the agency was incredibly proud of, saying that we know, and I'm quoting from his testimony, I have it here with me, we know that access to childcare is essential for families. This past year, we have made tremendous progress in increasing the number of children receiving childcare assistance, including for the first time ever for undocumented children through FY23 funding for Promise NYC. We know that what we talk about in the limited time when we're giving public testimony is, there's a lot that we could say. And despite it not being included in the mayor's executive budget, he saw fit to uplift how important it was. The questions that myself, Chair Hanif asked him to highlight, and he said it was something that he was the most proud of in terms of what this agency has been able to accomplish. And so I read today's testimony, and a lot of it is just sort of like the basics on how the program has worked, but the front end, I'm not satisfied with it, because it talks a lot about the onus being on the federal government. We know that we're not getting that funding for specific reasons from the federal government. It did not stop us last fiscal year to fill that gap when the governor left our undocumented families out of the budget for these subsidies. And so I don't think it's good enough to pass the buck, and we should be a yes and city to say, yes, we all can continue to fight for federal changes, but in this moment, in the short term, where there is a critical need, we have filled the gap, and we absolutely should be filling the gap again, especially when the gap, that $20 million gap, is 1/5 of 1% of the entire city's budget. And so I want to see us be a yes and not pass the buck to the federal government, because we've done it in the past. We have OPCs because the Department of Health and DOHMH said, we know that the federal government doesn't allow this, but it saves lives, so we're going to do it. And we forge forward and we save lives. We know that the federal government does not allow for the provision of dollars towards programs like this. And last year, and I commend the mayor on this, did the right thing and provided these subsidies. And so what we're saying right now is that we have to continue it. It's so critical, especially now. So I just want to, I mean, I'm a little bit perturbed by kind of like the difference in tenor of in comparison to the last piece of testimony. And I know that I'm going on a little bit of a soliloquy here, and I apologize, but I thought it was worth noting. It's not enough to say that the federal government has to step up. We know that, but we also need to step up too. Some of the questions I want to ask have to do with, if you can talk a little bit about, you know, you said that the 600 families were serviced. If you mentioned also in the testimony that the early Head Start programs are also capturing some of these folks, but clearly the need is not being met in terms of capacity. So do you believe that in the absence of the funding for Promise NYC, that the existing programs that were mentioned in your testimony would do the work of filling the gap and then some of the need that we're seeing in the current moment, specifically for childcare and early education for undocumented families?
I mean, I can't say for sure. I think that though the interest and enrollment in this program would suggest that, you know, that families are interested in it. I'll also say that there is a difference in the age range that Promise NYC serves versus the other parts of the continuum that families can access.
Okay, so it would be fair to say that Promise NYC is filling a very, or has filled across the last 6 months, a very specific gap in lack of childcare access. Is that correct?
It's definitely meeting a need, yes.
Okay, and would you also agree that those 600 plus families for that 6 months, while really incredible, that it did fall short of meeting the need, basically saying that need outpaced capacity?
I think that's fair to say. As I mentioned, we don't maintain a wait list, but knowing that community-based organizations have other families reaching out to them, it would suggest that there are more families interested in Promise NYC than we're currently serving. And
does ACS or any other agency that's here today have a sense of how many children under 5 have arrived in New York City who are seeking asylum?
I don't have those numbers, and I don't believe my colleagues do, but we can certainly reach out to city colleagues and get back to you if there is an existing estimate on that. And
do you have I'm sorry, did you have something?
I was just going to say that it would have been helpful if the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs was present.
It is definitely appropriate to put on the record. And do you have, I know that you can get back to us on that my first question, but in a follow-up to that, do you have a sense that there are current asylum seekers that have been enrolled in Promise NYC or other child care programs provided by the city?
I don't have specific numbers on that, but I do know that new arrivals have been enrolled in Promise NYC. We don't keep that information for obvious reasons of trying to keep families as safe and protected as possible. That said, our partners on the ground, as you heard, worked very closely with DHS Run Shelters as part of their outreach strategy. Our partner in Manhattan, NIMIC, also, we created with H&H a direct referral pathway with the HERCs, and so we know that families who are new arrivals in those types of facilities were accessing Promise NYC during this period, but I can't speak to exactly how many.
Okay. And I want to move, I would love to get follow-up from y'all on some of those data points, but I want to move a little bit into budget. Is Promise NYC funding considering emergency funding at all?
Is it considering say that
emergency funding?
Can you say a bit more about your question?
So, the mayor has talked about our current the current influx of asylum seekers as an emergency, right? And so obviously we have made fast and hard decisions on how to try to allocate resources to address the emergency and directing funding to things quite quickly. Like, is that something that is part of the discussions when we talk about providing for our newly arrived immigrant neighbors?
I'm not aware of whether or not it's being classified as emergency funding, but I can certainly check on that.
And was there any PEG applied or unallocated funding for Promise NYC in the executive plan?
I'm sorry?
Was there any PEG applied?
PEG applied to Promise NYC?
Yeah.
No, it was 1-year funding, so it wasn't cut during the course of that year.
Great, thank you. You talked in the beginning of our questioning really about just clearly about how this program has been filling a gap that was not met previously. And so if we go from the $10 million over the 6 months that we used to an executive budget that includes $0 for Promise NYC, what impact would an allocation of $0 have on the program and the families that rely on it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the first thing that we would do if we were in that circumstance is to have conversations with City Hall and OMB about what a responsible ramp down would look like. We would also do everything we could to try and identify families currently enrolled in Promise NYC that may be eligible for another program that they could access, being early Head Start, 3K or pre-K, and try and make very warm handoffs to those programs before we would make any decisions about cutting. But ultimately, you know, not having funding for the program may mean that some families wouldn't have an option.
I think more accurately it would mean that many families would not have an option, and I'm very confused on what a ramp down would look like if you're going from 10 million to 0. A ramp needs a runway, and that is no runway. I mean, not to mention the fact that outside of that, it is an essential service that needs to not just exist but be expanded. But again, I don't know how we can characterize it as a ramp down if it goes literally down to 0. I have other questions, but I want to make sure I make room for our colleagues to be able to ask theirs.
Thank you. I'd like to acknowledge that Councilmember Moya is on the Zoom, and so we have quorum. Councilmember Moya, if you have any questions, I'd like for you to go first. Okay, I will pass it to Councilmember Gutierrez.
Thank you, both chairs, Hanif and Kavan, for collaborating on this important topic, and thank y'all for your testimony. Certainly want to echo so much of what my colleagues have said today about the importance of this initiative and the real transformative change that it has provided for those communities that have been able to benefit from it. I represent a district where we house a number of the temporary migrant shelters, family shelters, and so hands down, this is something that I would love to see expanded into my district, knowing good and well how impactful it could be for those families. Let me see if I can, which ones I think make the most sense. I have a question about the process of getting the voucher. Promise NYC operates like a voucher system. Is that correct?
It operates a subsidy. So essentially, when a family is found eligible for Promise NYC and then works with the CBO to find a child care provider, whether that be home-based or a center-based provider, then the CBO works directly with the provider to make monthly payments, weekly or monthly payments, on behalf of that child that's enrolled.
I see. And has the city considered opening center-based programming near shelters or HERCs, I guess more of the family shelters, to serve asylum-seeking children?
I'd have to defer to my colleague on that.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Michelle Page. I'm the Executive Director for the Office of Child Care. Can you repeat the question about the HERCs?
Sure. Have you all thought about opening, has the city thought about opening center-based programming near shelters or HERCs to serve asylum-seeking children?
Sure. Currently, our office is connecting existing shelters, existing community-based organizations to the shelters in their locations. What our office is doing is making those connections that are not organically happening. There are Early Head Start, and New York City Public School funded programs that are located near these existing shelters. So our first step right now is to make sure that we're doing an operationalized connection so that the staff at these shelters are aware of the available seats for different types of funding. So that's what we're currently doing now. We have not had discussions about expanding into new centers at the moment.
Okay, thank you. And what resources do migrant families have for childcare outside of Promise NYC?
Sure. So families have access to Early Head Start and Head Start programs. Immigration status is not an qualifier of attending these.
But if there are no vacant seats?
If there are no vacant seats, you could be put on a wait list. That's part of the Early Head Start and Head Start model, is to make sure that we stay connected to families even if there isn't a seat available. Also, New York City Public Schools has school day seats for 3K and pre-K, and those are also available.
But between 0 to 3, there are no options if there is no available seats at a Head Start near you.
Correct. Early Head Start would be the option for birth through 3.
So eliminating Promise NYC, what is the anticipated income of that if we're not able to fund it at the same amount or even expand it, which is what we're asking for?
Mm-hmm. Well, the impact of any program closing is directly associated with how the families will be able to navigate a system. So I think to the comment earlier before, it's our responsibility to make sure before there is a cease of this program to connect families to existing programs so that they can be connected, so it's just not a cutoff. Any kind of program that ends, there is a direct impact on disconnecting those families to services.
Can I just one more question, Chair? So for the Head Starts, do you all have a sense of how long waiting lists are?
It depends on the program. Head Start in New York City, there are programs that have direct funding from the federal government, and there's programs that are associated and affiliated and funded through New York City Public Schools. Each of those programs are responsible for maintaining their own wait list. So Program A may have openings for 10 children, while Program B may have no vacancies based on full enrollment.
Do you see disparities in those Head Starts in communities of color versus gentrified or gentrifying communities? Can you speak to any of that data, just the differences?
So Early Head Start and Head Start is, one of the primary reasons for eligibility is income. So those income benchmarks transcend and go through the different districts. So there are pockets of neighborhoods that do have more Early Head Start and Head Start programs because the demographics of the medium income for those families reflect the need for that type of program. So there are disparities. They're based on income.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'd like to acknowledge that we are joined by Councilmember Althea Stevens, Rita Joseph, and Carmen De La Rosa. Do either of you have any questions? I can come back to you. Councilmember Riley.
Thank you, Chair Hanif and Chair Caban. Hello, everyone. Just a few questions. So families within the shelter system, What is the city's plan to provide childcare for those families in the shelter system? Are there any on-site enrollment support for those parents? And if so, what does that look like for childcare vouchers, such as Promise NYC and others that enroll into DOE 3K system?
I'm happy to speak about Promise NYC, and then I can turn it to my colleagues at New York City Public Schools. So for Promise NYC, as you heard, our community-based organizations each made connections with shelters and created referral path outreach and warm referral pathways. And so they were accepting throughout this period of time eligible families, and each family that applied for Promise NYC went through a facilitated application process, so they were supported all the way through application to enrollment.
Good afternoon. Josina Clanson, Senior Director of Policy, Strategy, and Special Projects at the Division of Early Childhood at New York City Public Schools. To answer your question, at our shelters with regards to early childhood programming, we have staff that are there to support both family workers, social workers, as well as coordinators that are there to support families that have questions about any of the childcare options that the New York City Public Schools has available. And depending on the criteria or what they're looking for, they're able to support
Is the staff walking the families through the process of applying for the vouchers? And if so, how much staffers are at these locations?
So for the contracted care, we don't have vouchers. They are going into our contracted seats. If they have questions, they are about the New York City NYC Promise, they are then able to support them in understanding how to make that transition.
Thank you. Early this year in February, the mayor opened up the Office of Child Care and Early Education. Just wanted to understand what has been the collaboration and contact with the local CBOs within the communities.
So our office is really happy to be a connector on many different levels. In terms of working with New York City public school systems, right now we are collaborating to make sure that the children who are coming into the city, residing in the HERCS, part of Promise NYC, any other programs, we are acting as connectors. We're putting, operationalizing systems in these welcome centers so that families have an understanding on how to navigate not just New York City public schools, but have access to other childhood programs in the continuum. So that's Early Head Start, that's Head Start, that's voucher if they're eligible. So our office is in
How are you guys operating in childcare deserts? Because there's a lot of areas within the communities in New York City that are childcare deserts. So how do you guys operate in those areas?
So the Office of Child Care doesn't operate, we don't do any direct service. So what we do is we are working in partnership with New York City Public Schools. We get their enrollment reports. We're identifying community districts and school districts that look like they have X amount of children versus X amount of seats. I know New York City Public School System has done a really valiant job in reallocating seats to accommodate some of those deserts. So that's what we're doing in partnership.
Thank you. Thank you, Chase.
Thank you. I'd like to just build on Councilmember Riley's questions to better understand the Office of Child Care and how Office of Child Care, and thank you so much, Dr. Michelle, for being here, and how you all are working with the DOE. Thank you for being here. How has the coordination of Promise NYC looked across our agency partners? Could you describe that?
Yeah, sure. Happy to talk about our collaborations as a whole. The objective for our office is really to be the connector between different city agencies and also external partners. So Promise NYC is just one example of a program that we're making sure that ACS, New York City Public Schools, and external partners are really working together to make sure that as many children and families are connected to service, education, and care. So that's the general overall approach to this office. In terms of Promise NYC, I would defer to ACS and New York City Public Schools in particular because of those very specific relationships. But overall, the idea of this office is really to ensure that everyone is getting connected in a way that serves the same purpose, which is access and equity for childcare for families and children. So in particular with the families that are seeking asylum, our office is really happy to partner with those staff at those programs. We're really creating an operations guide so that the staff also understand how to connect those families to the different eligibilities of programs throughout the city. So our office is taking the lead in creating a resource guide for the staff so they know how to go into the communities and connect families to those services. And to support that professional development and training for the staff, we're also putting together a resource guide for the families. So now that they're in the city, we don't want them to feel like they don't have access and always have to go through. So we're also looking at creating a space where families have some autonomy and creating their own experiences in the city, not just early childhood, but some activities, especially for the summer.
Got it. That gives me some clarity. So essentially, Office of Child Care is like an umbrella and hosts the various partners and convenes them
Yes.
to be streamlined in communication.
Correct.
You also all are putting out the materials and various development for staff and for families so that the providers can hand over materials to families, or are providers creating separate materials that are reviewed by you all? Could you share about more of the curriculum
Sure.
building and
Sure, yes. So
resources?
we're definitely the connectors and the conveners. I like the way you put that. In particular, for the asylum-seeking welcome centers in particular, the operations materials that we're putting together is specifically for the staff that are working there, and they know how to and where to connect to different CBOs. So whether it's early Head Start programs, New York City Public Schools, they will now have a guide with information to make really informed decisions. We don't want to add to the level of families having to seek out information in a place where they're not familiar, and we're really trying to make sure that this information is readily available and correct. We don't want to direct families to a program that doesn't have any vacancies, or they're not eligible for that type of program. So the Office of Child Care is working with all of the systems to make sure the information is correct, to guide and assist families to connect them to the correct programs.
Understood. Okay, so that sounds like a very vital role that the Office of Child Care is playing in this moment, particularly given the need and the coming out of COVID and still living with COVID, the need for childcare.
Correct.
And bringing in all of the existing initiatives and programs, city agencies, and all of the partner organizations together. So that sounds very, very meaningful. Melissa, could you share how the DOE is incorporated into the convening of the Office of Child Care, how you all have intimately worked with ACS and the providers around the referrals, or please share how the DOE has liaised to ensure families have access to Promise NYC.
Thank you for the question, Chair. I'm actually joined by my colleague, Jordina, who knows a lot more than I do, so I'm happy to pass the mic to her.
Jordina.
Yes, thank you for the question. So our agency works very closely with ACS. As the initiative came out, we wanted to learn more about how it was going to work and how we could best support. And so we used our communication methods to share with our providers this particular initiative in case they had questions. And so anytime we had questions, we were fielding them or letting them know what the opportunity was for Promise NYC, since those children may not have been, or families may not have been eligible for the services that are operated in New York City Public Schools.
So was there a flyer sent out to the public school system?
It wasn't a flyer. We have a bulletin or outgoing communication that we just send out to our providers to say these are options that are available. Want you to understand that this is information for you, and if you have additional questions, we directed them back to the website of ACS or contact information.
The providers as in childcare providers?
Correct, because we've had childcare providers that are interested in understanding more about the initiative, and so they would ask us if we had that information, and we would direct them to ACS so that they could ensure that they could be supported with that.
So in schools, when families would contact school leaders about childcare access, how are those conversations rerouted?
So we have site support individuals at our programs and at our district schools. And if they have questions, if families are coming in and have questions about programs that they might be eligible for, we would first try to identify if they might be eligible for our programming. As has been mentioned, early Head Start or School Day in Year 3K and Pre-K. If those options were not something that the family wanted, or they weren't, they were looking for more robust services, then we could direct them to places such as Promise NYC.
Understood. Coming back to the Deputy Commissioner at ACS, could you share reasons that a family would not be eligible for a Promise NYC? What are those?
Really only if a family didn't live in New York City, because residency is a requirement. If a child was out of the age bound, so over 13 years old. If a family were pre-screened to be eligible for federally or state-funded child care assistance, they would be directed there first. And if a family was over income, so Promise NYC serves families up to 300% of the federal poverty level on parity with our voucher and contracted care continuum.
Understood. So from this afternoon, from my colleagues, all of us represent shelters and school communities that have welcomed asylum seekers, and of course represent the vibrant, diverse immigrant communities, including many, many undocumented families. We've heard over and over just how critical this Promise NYC program is, and discontinuing this program would really be threatening to the dignified welcome that we want to continue to demonstrate to everybody coming into our city at any point that they decide to be here. And so, you know, I would love to get just on the record, do you agree with the need to continue the program at $20 million in fiscal 2024?
Again, I'm going to have to say that we are in discussions with both OMB and City Hall, and so we can't preempt budget discussions that are ongoing and not yet concluded.
But will you agree that Promise NYC has been successful, and we need to ensure that our undocumented families are accounted for through childcare access?
I will certainly agree that it's been successful, and we are very proud of the program.
Thank you. I will pass it to Councilmember Caban.
Thank you. I'm actually going to go ahead and pass it to Councilmember Gutierrez for her second round, and then I'll finish mine. Yeah.
There's so much respect. Thank you. My next questions was about the My City portal app. I'm super curious. I think we all are. I chair the council's tech committee, so my interests are twofold. Can you all share how many successful applications, and by successful applications I mean people applied and there were enrollment into childcare specifically through the app? Do you have that data available?
I don't have it with me. We can certainly come back to you with that information, but I don't have that with me today.
Okay, that's okay. I've got one more. Is there any data you can share? Because I know it launched in March, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, I can tell you that we are receiving applications daily, both DOE and ACS, and so we have many families applying, and I think within an hour after the launch, we received our first application. So just to say that it does seem certainly to be resonating as a valuable tool for families, which we're excited about.
Wonderful. And is there, and this is, I'm not sure, is there a Promise NYC, for example, an undocumented family looking for childcare, are they able to utilize at least the initial landing page, which I know kind of determines what they qualify for? Is Promise NYC included in the My City portal?
It isn't currently. As I explained before, I think part of the
providers?
reason is that the touch is so warm with families in the current iteration of Promise NYC, and so really workers are walking families through question by question. So it's also not a situation where a family is getting a Promise NYC application packet and having to go it alone.
Okay, I mean, I guess with a little bit more time, there'll be more follow-up questions about the My City portal, but do you also anticipate having data related to just demographic information of people that are utilizing the app to apply?
I know that we certainly have ages, and we have zip code information, or should be able to pull zip code
Okay.
information, none of which I have unfortunately
Right.
today, I apologize, but those will be available. I'd have to talk with our IT counterparts to go deeper on exactly what other demographic information is in there.
All right, wonderful. That was it. Thank you.
Well, I was going to ask about my city portal, so, but I'm going to ask for some follow-up, see? I'm glad I turned it over to you. So I know that, y'all talk about My City being a good way to apply for that subsidized childcare. I think some questions I have is we really don't have any idea if those applications were all filled out correctly, if they're getting kicked back to families for things like scanning documents incorrectly, whether this has sped up the processing time for a childcare application, like all of those different points. And then, I know that you didn't have the numbers for the applications that had been successfully processed and resulted in children starting the program, which was Councilmember Gutierrez's question. So I'm assuming that you also today don't have these particular data points that I would just request. Specifically, how many applications the city received via the portal to date. And if you have them, then please, today, then please do share them. And then also a disaggregated demographic data on who is using the portal, particularly zip codes or districts over or underrepresented, because I think that information would be really useful.
Yep. I don't have them, unfortunately, but we can certainly come back with that.
And then to follow up on one of Chair Hanif's questions, you gave an answer about, when you are found ineligible, right? Reaching that 13-year-old threshold and above, you have to, being a resident. What happens if a child is 12 years old, receiving the service, turns 13? Does the subsidy stop? Does it finish out for the rest of the fiscal year? Are they booted from the program? And then how do you define or prove residency under those requirements?
Sure. Currently, children have continued so long as that the program that they're enrolled in is licensed for that age. So if a child has turned 13 in the months that they've been enrolled, they have continued. If residency is based on a New York City address, location, and because we understand that documentation is much more difficult for this population, that is through self-attestation. We have seen, several families, just a handful that were participating in Promise NYC, move out of New York City and therefore unenroll in their childcare.
Okay. My last question has to do with language access and DLL programs. We're hearing about instances where asylum seekers or other immigrants with one language are being placed in dual language learning programs for the wrong language. So for example, a student who only speaks Haitian Creole is being placed in a Spanish DLL program. Obviously that's something that's troubling and concerning to hear, because the student is then expected to learn two entirely new languages with no support in their language of origin. And so what's being done to prevent and address those occurrences?
In Promise NYC or in the broader continuum?
In the broader.
Yeah, sure. I'll turn it to New York City Public Schools because ACS, as you know, issues vouchers, and so families are selecting their care.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for your question. If I'm understanding correctly, you're asking about placement for multilingual learners in the broader sense across New York City Public Schools?
Yes, because we have heard from folks that there are instances where children are being placed in programs that don't include their language of origin. So again, as an example, a child who speaks Haitian Creole being placed in a Spanish DLL program and then kind of being left to navigate two new languages rather than being able to get the support that they need in their language of origin.
Right. Thank you for the additional clarification. So when a student, first and foremost, the way that we identify our migrant families is by looking at the number of students in temporary housing with a new admit date to New York City schools since July 1st. We, for obvious reasons, don't ask status. And so there is an identification process that happens through an exam to identify students as multilingual learners. And so if a student is in fact a multilingual learner, then the family is walked through the different instructional models that exist. So for example, an English as a new language program, that is an English instruction model, in which case children from across multiple languages can all be in the same class receiving support as they navigate English instruction. There's also dual language and transitional bilingual. And so I am certainly not aware of any instances where a child is placed in a transitional bilingual or dual language program with a language that is other than their own native language, but certainly that's troubling to hear. And if those escalations come to any of your offices, then we would absolutely love to explore them further. But if the family is saying we want to be in a dual language program for Spanish speaking or for Haitian Creole speaking, then obviously that's their right and they should be placed appropriately.
Okay.
I just want to acknowledge Councilmember Purina Sanchez.
Do you have any questions? Okay. One moment, please. Oh, okay. Just circling back to my city very, very briefly, are there any implementation for improved functionality related to the use of the app?
You're asking if my city is if there are improvements being made?
Yes.
Yes. So we were actively monitoring feedback from families and also seeing, places where in applications we continue to have families not provide all of the required documentation, and so we are actively working with city partners to make tweaks to My City to try and make it a stronger tool.
We would love to hear what those tweaks, we would love to hear what those changes in the process are being.
Sure, I can't speak in detail about them, but we're happy to follow up with those.
That would be great, thank you. And then I want to state for the record that we did invite CGE, the Commission on Gender Equity, and MOE, Mayor's Office of Equity, to come and testify at this hearing. They declined to come. I think it would have been useful for them to be here. You may not be able to answer this, but if you have any sense of what the role of CGE or MOE is in Promise NYC or in relation to the Promise NYC program.
CGE and MOE weren't deeply involved in the startup of Promise NYC, though we've had discussions with them about it and certainly could explore that if there were a future opportunity. I know you also mentioned Moya, who was a deep partner in the startup and planning of this program, as well as providing technical assistance all the way through.
Okay, and then the one thing that I want to state, I'm out of questions, I think, but the one thing that I would like to note at the very least is that I know that you mentioned at some point that there wasn't a wait list per se, but I do want to point out that a wait list wasn't really kept because the CBOs that have been partnered with were told to stop outreach once they enrolled 200 families. So I believe other providers were told the same. Like, I know that one provider was told that, other providers were told, stop the outreach, we filled up. And I think that would account for not being able to point to a wait list when those CBOs know firsthand, and I'm sure that they will be able to testify to this, that the need far, far, far outpaced the number of families that they were able to serve, and those were instructions that they received from your agency. So I just want to make sure that that's on the record as well. And Chair, if there's anything else you want to add.
I have some questions, but want to pass to Councilmember Sanchez.
Thank you so much, chairs. And first and foremost, I just want to thank you both for your advocacy for this important program. I'm a little concerned that my question may have been answered earlier, but I'm going to ask it anyway, and if anything, I can follow up and get the data afterwards. But asking this question from the perspective of having a 10-month-old, when I gave birth, I was very concerned about my ability to, identify a place where I would be able to leave my own child. And I called around to providers, including some who are listed in the reports and testimony that has been shared today. And it's just extremely difficult, just from my own anecdotal experience, it's extremely difficult to find a spot for a newborn. And so I know that there are capacity issues. So,
from that lens, my question is, do you have a breakdown of the children that have accessed the Promise NYC program? What ages have they been? And then in particular, with the providers that we have, the Center for Family Life, Northern Manhattan Improvement Corporation, La Colmena, and others, do you have a breakdown of what the number of applicants that they received and how many folks that they are serving?
Sure. So on the first question, there are about 70% of the children enrolled in Promise NYC are 0 through 4 years old, so 0 to 5 years old. So the vast majority in that early
I'm
child.
sorry, I'm interested in like infant versus toddler versus, so within that 0 to 4.
I don't have that with me, and we can certainly bring that back. And remind me your second question.
The breakdown of how many children each provider has served and compared to the number of applications they received.
Got it. I don't have the number of applications that they've received. I do know that there are 664 enrolled as of the beginning of June. In the Bronx, and there our partner is NIMIC, there are 125 children enrolled. In Brooklyn with CFL, 198. Chinese American Planning Council in Queens, 208. NIMIC in Manhattan, 113. And La Colmena in Staten Island, 20.
Thank you so much. That's really helpful. And I'd love to follow up. And again, just thank you to our chairs for following up on this issue so intensely and prioritizing this important program. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Sanchez, and bringing your own experience into this fight. We deeply appreciate that in this work. Does the city have any outstanding payments to Promise NYC providers?
Only for invoices not yet submitted.
Okay. And then will the administration staff remain present for the entirety of this hearing to listen to the testimony of providers, families, and advocates? Is anyone staying behind?
I know that ACS will have representation staying, yes.
Thank you, we see you. And then you mentioned in your testimony that there are staff trained, the CBO staff were trained. Could you share who trains these staff, and are you collecting reporting from our providers and can share with the council?
We, ACS and DOE's enrollment team jointly trained the community-based organizations on the full continuum of care in New York City. When you say, are we keeping
any reporting or any evaluations?
We don't have an evaluation associated with this program. We do have program level data, and we are going through a process now with the community-based organizations to collect learnings from the program.
Okay.
Certainly we can share data, much of which I've shared with you today.
That would be great. And so going back to the funding and payment question, how much of the $10 million has been reimbursed so far?
I don't have that information with me.
Would you have that at some point? Is that
yeah?
Okay.
I can certainly get it.
We would like that information.
I will note that often invoices lag a month or two coming in, so what we give you will be through a certain period of time. We can certainly get that to you.
Sure. And then, like Councilmember Caban mentioned, it would have been great for Moya to have joined, and but it was great to hear from you all that Moya has been engaged as a partner, as a thought partner from the very beginning, and we recognize just the ways in which countless agencies, offices are involved and contributing to this work and this fight. That is all from us. Thank you all so much for joining. This was extremely elucidating, and we will continue to call for the $20 million for Promise NYC.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We will take a couple of minutes for the administration to wrap up. And in the meantime, for public witnesses, we are going to move to public testimony. Once your name is called, if you're joining us via Zoom, a member of the staff will unmute you and the Sergeant at Arms will give you the go-ahead to begin after setting the timer, so please listen for that cue. For fairness of everyone testifying today, all public testimony will be limited to 3 minutes per person. When the sergeant announces that your 3 minutes is up, we ask that you please wrap up and we can move to the next person. I will also note for the purposes of this hearing, we do have Spanish language interpretation available, so please let us know if you require that. If you can give us a few minutes, we will move on to public testimony shortly. Thank you everyone for your patience. We will now get started with public testimony. At this time, I would like to call Angela A., Yanni Romero Mendez, followed by Jacina Ponce, and then Yesenia Mata.
And I'd like to acknowledge that we've been joined by Councilmember Shekhar Krishna.
If you are here in person, you can come up to the table and have a seat and get start when you are ready. And again, if anyone requires Spanish language interpretation, please let us know and we will set that up for you.
Hola, buenas tardes.
Yeah, thank you.
So we do have a Spanish language interpreter there at the table. If you could please convey to her what is happening in terms of interpretation. Sorry, I'm not equipped to do that.
Tranquila. Bueno, lo siguiente. Hola, buenas tardes. Primero que todo, quiero darles las gracias por la oportunidad de poder hablar acá en este día y sobre todo agradecerle a las personas que hacen parte de este programa.
Hello, good afternoon. First of all, I want to thank you all for hearing me today. And I want to thank everyone that's going to be part of this program.
Estoy muy agradecida porque gracias al programa mi hijo tiene una oportunidad de estudiar.
Could the person to Angela's left share your mic so that we could have simultaneous microphone access?
I'm very grateful about this because thanks to this program, my daughter is able to participate in it because it exists.
Listo. Yo, como muchas madres latinas, pues llegamos a este país inmigrando, no contamos con los recursos para poder pagar un daycare.
I am a Hispanic mother, and as many others, as myself, we don't count with enough resources para hacer un bakery, me dice?
Un daycare.
Un daycare? Oh, to pay a daycare.
Y gracias a ustedes y al programa podemos, o sea, mi hijo tiene la facilidad de estar en este momento estudiando y yo.
And thanks to you and the program, my son has the opportunity to study.
Y sé que no solamente soy yo y no es mi bebé, sino son muchas madres más que se están beneficiando con sus bebés y con niños que están recibiendo este programa, este beneficio.
And I know that it's not only myself and my baby that are getting the help through this program. It's a lot of many other mothers and their children that are getting the benefits through this program.
Porque gracias a ellos yo tengo la oportunidad de poder trabajar, no formalmente, pero por días en un trabajo informal para poder sustentar.
Because thanks to them, I have the ability or the capacity to be able to work, maybe not steadily, but I'm still able to work informally.
Para ayudarnos a sostener económicamente en estos momentos como familia.
So we can help to sustain ourselves economically as a family.
El programa nos ha ayudado mucho a mi bebé porque el cambio que ha tenido intelectual, emocionalmente.
The program has helped us a lot, both myself and my baby, because the change that he has had, it has been an intellectual change and emotionally as well.
A nivel educativo ha mejorado muchísimo, a nivel de alimentación también. Es un bebé que ha cambiado muchísimo desde que está estudiando, desde que está en el daycare.
He has changed a lot ever since he started at the daycare, and it has been both in the aspect of education and actually nutrition as well in his diet.
Y igualmente les agradezco por la oportunidad que nos están dando de ser beneficiarios del programa a mí y a todas las madres que estamos recibiendo él.
I also want to thank you for the opportunity that you are giving to us, and I mean by that to me and all of the mothers that are being helped day to day or day by day through the program and its benefits.
Porque no es lo mismo la educación que nosotros le podamos dar como mamá en las casas a la que le dan en los institutos.
Because it is not the same education that we are able to provide at home as mothers than the education that you are able to provide at school.
Muchas gracias y Dios permita que sigan apoyando el programa para que siga beneficiando a muchas madres latinas o inmigrantes como lo están haciendo con nosotros.
Thank you very much, and I want to say thank you again for the opportunity that you are providing to the Latin mothers, meaning Hispanic mothers, through the program, so they can study and everyone can get the benefits through the program.
Good afternoon. My name is Vianney Romero.
Un segundito, por favor. Sorry.
No. Angela.
She can stay.
Yeah. That's just so I can hear better. All right, so you can start. Puedo empezar.
Oh, I don't know a translator.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. I thought she needed one. Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Vianney Romero. I'm representing Mistake Organization and Community We Serve. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson Shahana Hanif and Honorable Chairperson Tiffany Caban and committee members present. I am here to testify on the vital importance of affordable childcare for immigrant families, including asylum seekers. As an advocate for immigrant and indigenous communities, I have witnessed firsthand the significant challenges they face in accessing affordable child care services. Mistake provides services to Latinx and indigenous communities in Sunset Park and Greater New York City. As a community-based organization that has been at the forefront responding to the humanitarian crisis of newly arrived asylum seekers, we are well aware of the challenges our immigrant and indigenous communities face, among which is the issue of access to affordable childcare. Immigrant families often encounter numerous challenges in their daily lives. In the absence of affordable childcare options, parents are confronted with the difficult choices, such as leaving their children unattended or sacrificing their economic prospects by remaining at home to care for the children. Asylum seekers who reside in shelters have shared the challenges they face in seeking employment due to the lack of childcare. Several asylum seekers have expressed the need to restrict their job search or employment hours to coincide with their children's school schedule. This poses an additional barrier to a community that is striving to attain job opportunities. Access to childcare services not only empowers parents to pursue education, stable employment, and job training, but it allows them to reach sustainable livelihoods and thrive in New York City. Just in the last 3 months, Mistake has provided OSHA training to approximately 360 asylum seekers, many of whom had to bring their children along. This situation poses difficulties for both parents who need to focus on the training and their infants who have to remain in the location for extended period of time. Therefore, we respectfully ask that Promise New York City and other child care service providers continue the commitment to serving immigrant families, including asylum seekers, ensuring that these vital services remain available and accessible to those who need it. Thank you.
Thank you. And Angela, gracias por tu testimonio. Una pregunta. ¿Qué significará para ti si el programa terminara?
Thank you very much. To you and for your testimony. So I have this question. What would it mean to you if this program would get terminated or if it ends?
Sería una afectación a nivel emocional para mi bebé, a nivel económico para nosotros como familia, como madre.
It would affect my baby emotionally, and as a family, it would affect us economically.
Ya que no contamos con los recursos necesarios para poder pagar el daycare.
Since we don't count with the necessary resources to pay the daycare.
Por los costos muy altos y como decía la compañera, no contamos con un permiso de trabajo para poder tener un trabajo legal en estos momentos.
Because of the high cost of paying that, and as my peer said previously, we don't have the money to pay for this service.
Y son trabajos informales los cuales no podemos cubrir el costo de un daycare.
We don't have enough resources to get a steady job, so we will have to work informally, and also we couldn't pay for the services provided at the daycare. That's it.
Thank you. Gracias.
Thank you.
We do have two more folks on the panel, so if you could just stick around, and then we might have some other questions.
Thank you. Next, we'll go to Yesenia Ponce. You can begin when the sergeants call time.
Time starts now.
Hi, thank you. Good afternoon, council members. Thank you for the opportunity to provide testimony on behalf of Northern Manhattan Improvement Corporation. Again, my name is Yesenia Ponce, pronouns she, her. I am a coordinating attorney for policy and advocacy at Northern Manhattan Improvement Corporation. We are a settlement house that provides a wide range of services for migrant communities. I don't need to further amplify how difficult it is in finding and maintaining childcare for a working parent. Childcare in New York City can cost up to $3,300, $3,500 a month in Manhattan, with an average of $412 per week. This is just not sustainable for our immigrant communities, especially because they are ineligible for subsidized benefits elsewhere. This population has very limited resources. Just as a personal example, my husband and I have full-time employment, and we wonder, even as two working professionals, how will we do it? How can anyone pay the exorbitant cost of childcare and afford cost of living, afford rent, afford utilities, and then be able to save for a future? It really does seem nearly impossible for us. But for our immigrant communities, our new Americans, it may as well be impossible for them to do this without any access to subsidized benefits. How can they do it? And frankly, some can't. And then it then becomes a choice, right, between going to work and staying home due to an inability to afford childcare. We have seen in our housing practice several immigrant clients in the past where childcare is literally the sole reason why they cannot contribute to the household income. And as we all know, with the rising costs of rent, it can well become the difference between homelessness and paying for childcare. I don't think that we're exaggerating when we say the lack of affordable childcare is contributing to the housing crisis for immigrant families in New York City. So this is why Promise NYC has become a critical critical component for immigrant working families. Since Promise NYC launched in January of 2023, our office has enrolled 238 children in Manhattan and the Bronx, and we currently have over 200 children on our waiting list to be screened. So that is over 100 families that are able to join the workforce and contribute to our city directly because of this program. A quick example is Romina, a single mother from Ecuador who migrated with her 2 children under the age of 4 and lives in one of the city's migrant shelters. Her 2 children have actually enrolled with a Promise NYC childcare provider since February 2023 through our office. And as a result, she has had the opportunity to maintain stability for her children by seeking work. Same with Angie, a mother of a daughter with a speech delay who has seen her daughter's communication skills significantly improve since starting daycare through Promise NYC. So really, it's undeniable that mothers such as Romina and Angie would be able to join the workforce and unable to contribute towards their upward mobility in this country without Promise NYC.
Time expired.
The 20 million investment, the 20 million ask is an investment for the return that we will see by providing this population the opportunity to contribute to our city. And we believe that this funding is crucial to meet current and future challenges for future immigrants of New York City. Thank you so much, council members, and I welcome any questions should you have any.
Thank you. It looks like Yesenia Mata is not on the Zoom, so if you have any other, sorry, you can go ahead with any questions, council members.
I just want to thank Angela for joining, and Vianney and Yesenia for just contributing to the conversation and the importance of why we need Promise NYC to be reinstated and doubled to the $20 million. It is especially just critical for us to hear, for legislators to hear from Angela, and so I just want to thank you for taking time out of your day today. This must have been a work day for you, and you took time to come visit us. You were at the rally, and I just commend for you contributing your voice to this vital program. It shouldn't take you to keep coming back at our rallies and in front of City Hall, in City Hall Park, to be fighting for this. So we want to extend just gratitude to you for being a part of this initial year that this was created, and in the fight to ensure that we not only keep the program, but we double the program so that it meets the needs of many more families, and that it ensures your success and the success of other families here. So thank you for that, and sending your child our deepest love. No questions for me. We can move on to the next panel.
Thank you.
Un segundo.
Oh, go for it.
Un segundo. Muchísimas gracias a ustedes, porque sin ustedes esto no sería posible. Gracias por pensar en nosotras como mamás, como inmigrantes.
Okay. Thank you very much, because without you, this wouldn't be possible. Thank you for thinking about us as immigrant mothers.
Porque sin ustedes nada de esto sería posible. Muchas gracias.
Because without you, none of this would ever be possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now call the next panel. We have Sonia Nieto, Sonia Okendo, Julia Ma, and Mohammed Amin.
It says, oh.
You all can get started whenever you're ready.
Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Sonia. Mi nombre es Sonia Nieto.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Sonia Nieto.
Soy madre de 2 niños que me beneficié en el programa Cómplice en New York City.
I am the mother of 2 children who benefited from Promise New York City program.
Con la ayuda del Centro for Family Life en Sunset Park.
With the help of the Center for Family Life in Sunset Park,
Manifiesto el agradecimiento al programa y al daycare.
I manifest or express my gratitude to the program and to the daycare
Que nos dio la oportunidad de poder postularnos para el beneficio del cuidado de nuestros niños.
that gave us the opportunity to apply for the benefit of caring for our children.
Yo llegué con mi familia a la ciudad de Nueva York en el momento de la llegada.
I arrived with my family to New York City, and at the time of my arrival,
Nos postulamos a la vivienda del Chester.
I had to apply to get the housing at the shelter, to be able to be at the shelter,
En el que gracias al programa de New York City mis hijos obtuvieron el cuidado infantil.
where, thanks to the Promise New York City program, my children obtained childcare,
En el cual el daycare le ofrecía el alimento, el apoyo académico y emocional.
in a daycare that offers them food, academic, and emotional support as well.
Gracias a ellos, mis niños asisten al daycare hasta las 7 de la noche y así pues yo puedo trabajar junto con mi esposo para poder.
Thanks to them, my children attend around until 7 p.m. to the daycare, and that way I'm able to find a job, and my husband as well.
Así pues pudimos trabajar, rentamos un apartamento y salimos del Chester.
And thanks to that, we were both able to get a job, rent an apartment, and leave the shelter.
Gracias a este programa podemos darles a mis hijos una mejor calidad de vida.
Thanks to this program, we are able to give my children a better quality of life
Y un mejor entorno. Estaré eternamente agradecida con la ayuda que nos están brindando, tanto como para mi familia y para mis hijos.
and a better environment. I will be eternally grateful for the help you are giving us, both to me and my children.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you. We can move on to Sonia Okendo.
Muy buenas tardes, ¿me escucha? Sí.
I hope you're having a very good afternoon.
En medio de una situación de migrantes hacia los Estados Unidos, la ciudad de Nueva York ha liderado un soporte humanitario mundialmente histórico para estas familias que han logrado entrar al país.
In the midst of a tense situation of migrants to the United States, the city of New York has led a world historical humanitarian support for these families
que han logrado entrar al país en busca de un sueño y una mejor calidad de vida.
who have managed to enter the country in search of a dream and a better quality of life.
Promise New York City es uno de esos programas que desde mi punto de vista
Promise New York City is one of those programs that, From my point of view,
ha sido fundamental para el soporte de estas familias que han pasado retos extremos para llegar aquí.
has been fundamental in supporting these families who have gone through extreme challenges to get here.
Sunset Park Group Family Daycare les abrió la puerta y ha honrado esa filosofía de la ciudad de Nueva York, apoyar al migrante con los mismos derechos que un ciudadano. Gracias.
Sunset Park Group Family Daycare opened the door for them and has honored that philosophy of the City of New York to support the migrant with the same rights as an American citizen.
Gracias al programa de Promise New York City, hemos brindado educación, alimentación y un apoyo emocional para que la familia no desista en sus metas.
Thanks to the Promise New York City program, we have provided education, food, and the best emotional support so that these families do not give up on their goals.
Mi nombre es Sonia Oquendo, proveedora de cuidado infantil. Fui migrante y caminé por los mismos caminos que estos pequeños caminaron.
I am Sonia Oquendo, child care provider for Sunset Park Group Family Daycare. I was a migrant and I walked the same paths that those little ones walk.
Me veo reflejada en ellos. Yo cumplí mis sueños y quiero que ellos también lo logren.
I see myself reflected in them. I fulfill my dreams and I want them to achieve it too.
Me conmueve y agradezco que continúe este programa de la ciudad de New York, que le dice al mundo entero el valor más grande del ser humano siempre será ayudar al que lo necesite, porque somos solo una humanidad.
I am moved and I am grateful that this New York City program continues, which tells the entire world that the greatest value of the human being will always be to help those who need it because we are one humanity. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me? I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Speaker Adrian Adams, Co-Chair Amanda Farias, Co-Chair Farah Ruiz, and the Chair on Committee on Immigration, Councilmember Shahana Hanif, and its members, as well as Chair of Committee on Women and Gender Equity, Tiffany Caban, and its members for providing me this opportunity to testify today. My name is Julie Ma, and I'm the Director of Strategy at the Korean American Family Service Center, KAFC. For over 34 years, KAFSC has been providing effective services to Asian American, primarily immigrant survivors who have been affected by gender-based violence, including domestic violence, sexual assault, and child abuse. All our programs and services are offered in a culturally affirming and linguistically competent setting. We operate year-round, and our 24-hour bilingual hotline and emergency shelter are available 7 days a week. At KAFSC, 98% of our clients are immigrants, 98% are women, and 100% of our staff members are immigrants themselves or children of immigrants' parents. Additionally, over 95% of our clients' first language is not English, and they come from low-income backgrounds. We are proud to be an on-site partner at the Queens Family Justice Center and the Staten Island Family Justice Center as on-site and off-site partners. We are also grateful for our partnership with the Mayor's Office to End Gender-Based Violence and Commissioner Noel. Our Executive Director, Jihei Fisher, is an appointed member of the Mayor's Domestic Violence Fatality Review Committee, and she recently joined the NGBV Advisory Committee meeting. In 2022, KFSC received 4,958 hotline calls related to domestic violence, sexual assault, child abuse, and trafficking cases. They provided 2,739 bed nights at the Rainbow House Shelter and served 32 women and 14 children through their transitional housing program. KFC also taught 213 women at the job training classes under the Economic Empowerment Program, served 119 elementary and middle school students at the Hodori After School Program, trained 50 high school students as advocates in their Youth Community Project team, and opened a new office space to expand their economic empowerment classes, volunteering program, and youth community project team. Despite the critical work done by the culturally and linguistically specific organizations like KFC, immigrant survivors' gender-based violence are often left behind in terms of inclusion in the New York City budget. Mainstream and larger organizations often take a larger cut of the budget, while smaller organizations like KFC are left to do the work on the ground with limited resources. It is important that the New York City Council recognize the unique needs and challenges faced by immigrant survivors of gender-based violence and prioritize funding for organizations like KFC that have a proven track record of serving this community. By investing in culturally and linguistically specific organizations like us, we can ensure that all survivors of gender-based violence have access to the support and resources they need to lead safe and healthy lives. As we all know, immigrant survivors of gender-based violence have been disproportionately affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. From job losses to increased caregiving responsibilities, that they have faced immense challenges over the past years. As we begin to recover from the pandemic, it is critical that we prioritize the needs of immigrant survivors of gender-based violence in our budget. We're calling for increased funding for programs that support their economic security, such as job training and placement programs, access to affordable childcare, and small business support. We also urge the Immigrant and Gender Equity Committee to prioritize and expand funding for programs that address the rise in domestic violence and sexual assaults during the pandemic, including increased supports for shelters and legal services. Given the time, thank you for your attention and your commitment to support the needs of immigrant survivors of gender-based violence in the city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Una pregunta para Ms. Oquendo. Sí.
Thank you. This is a question for Ms. Oquendo.
Gracias por tu testimonio. ¿Cómo afecta o ayuda el programa a su negocio y qué significa para ti si el programa termina el 1 de junio?
Thank you for your testimony. So the question is, what does it mean, the program, for you and your business? And what would it mean for you if the program ends on the 1st of June? Sorry.
Sí. Perdón, ¿puedes repetirme la pregunta porque ella sí me la hizo en español? Y fue que...
No, sí. Okay. Es para que los otros entiendan lo que estoy hablando. Entonces me la responde en español.
Sí.
Y yo lo traduzco.
Okay. Ella dijo que
cómo
afectaba el programa, right?
I'm telling her to say in Spanish and then I'll translate it for her.
Sí.
Yeah.
Okay. ¿Cómo afecta o ayuda el programa a su negocio? ¿Y qué significa para ti si el programa terminara el 1 de junio?
Los más afectados van a ser los niños.
The ones that are going to be affected the most are going to be the children.
Porque la mayoría de niños que asisten a mi programa viven en shelters.
Because most of the children that attend my program live in shelters.
Emocionalmente el programa o los niños se han beneficiado con alimentación.
The children have been benefited by nutrition, meaning their diet, and emotionally as well through the program, as well as in the education sector.
Y en el shelter no tienen esos beneficios que pueden tener en el daycare.
And at the shelter, they don't have those benefits that they could have at the daycare.
Gracias y gracias por tu trabajo.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your work.
Señora Nieto, el mismo pregunta es ¿qué significará para ti si el programa terminara?
And Mrs. Nieto, it is the same question for you. What does it mean to you if the program ends on the affirmation date? Sí.
beneficia tanto como a mi familia y a mis hijos y a las demás mamitas el poder.
It benefits myself and the other families and the other mothers and my kids.
El beneficio que nos da, que nos brinda el daycare para el cuidado, porque pues no tenemos a nadie confiable dejarles nuestro niño, ya que el daycare.
So the benefit that you provide to us to leave our children in the daycare, it is well appreciated because sometimes you cannot find someone that you trust to leave your children with them.
Tanto como el programa y el daycare nos brinda la oportunidad para nuestros niños, ya como tal, no dejarles los niños a una persona que no conozcamos y
Okay.
están en un buen lugar.
Both the program and the daycare provide us the opportunity to not leave our children with someone or people that we don't really know and that they're going to be at a good place at the same time.
Thank you.
I have a few follow-up questions, so I'll start with Sonia Nieto. Can you share what feedback you have in terms of what you want to see more of through this program, beyond the monetary?
Muchas gracias. Yo tengo unas cuantas preguntas de seguimiento. ¿Usted podría compartir con el conocimiento que usted tiene, qué más usted le gustaría ver en este programa o qué más usted querría obtener de este programa, además de monetariamente o financieramente?
Pues en el momento mis hijos se han beneficiado mucho porque pues de ese mismo programa ellos han aprendido muchísimo después de su escuela.
Okay. At this moment, my children have been getting a lot of benefits because of that program in a lot of different fields or aspects after school.
So you don't have any feedback in terms of what additional activities you might want your children to participate in, or for the specific provider, in terms of information that you'd like to learn? Is there any feedback, both positive and, of course, areas of improvement?
Entonces, ¿no tiene algún comentario sobre actividades adicionales que usted desearía que sus hijos tengan o una diferente necesidad que se le pueda proveer o diferentes proveedores o en caso en términos escolares o algo por el estilo que usted le podría gustar ver en ese programa?
Pues en el momento pues yo me siento satisfecha porque pues la verdad nos han brindado como tal la ayuda tanto económica como estable para los niños.
Well, at the moment, I feel satisfied because you have provided for us and the children help economically and in other aspects as well.
Okay, thank you. And then for our second Sonia Oquendo, can you talk about the activities, the specific programming that exists that you've been providing and that the children have access to? What growth have you seen over the course of the last 6 months of this program's existence for the development of the children?
Gracias, Sonia. Ahora vamos con la segunda parte con Sonia. Entonces, la pregunta es, ¿usted podría testificar qué actividades usted ha proveído ahí en el programa con respecto a los niños? Can you repeat, please, the last part of the question?
What growth has she seen as a provider of the children in the last 6 months of this program's existence?
¿Y qué crecimiento o desarrollo usted ha visto en los niños en los últimos 6 meses en cuanto al programa, lo que ustedes proveen en el programa?
Primero,
Could you use the mic?
Oh.
Primero en el aspecto alimenticio. Muchos de esos niños que venían padeciendo de desnutrición.
First, on their diet, on that aspect, a lot of the children that were coming to the program were not well nutrition. Their nutrition was lacking.
Emocionalmente también venían sufriendo mucho por lo que habían pasado. Muchos de ellos, la mamá casi pierde la vida, niños de 5 años hablando.
A lot of them were also emotionally affected in a great manner because a lot of their mothers had been at the brink of death, and we're talking about 5-year-old children and so on.
Con todas las actividades que se proveen en el daycare, ellos han tratado emocionalmente estar más estables, adaptándose a esta nueva vida.
And thanks to all of the activities that are provided at the daycare, they have been able to be more stable in face of everything that may come up on this life.
Muchos de ellos, pues yo los he tenido de enero hasta acá, 5 meses. Los más pequeños empiezan a hablar inglés.
Most of them, I have had them since January until now, so it will be about 5 months. Muchos de ellos, ¿qué me dijo?
Que empezaron a hablar el idioma.
Oh, right. A lot of them have been recently started to speak English.
Se están adaptando muy bien a esta nueva vida. Les encanta estar en el daycare.
They're adapting very well to this new life, and they love to be at the daycare.
Porque tienen un espacio más amplio donde ellos se pueden recrear y no en el lugar donde ellos están viviendo, que es un shelter.
Because they have a more ample space where they are now, that is not the shelter, and they're able to have recreational activities while they are not at the shelter.
Personalmente yo los trato de llevar a paseos para que ellos vean este nuevo mundo y traten de dejar un poquito la tristeza que traían.
Personally, I try to take them to trips so they can leave behind some of the sorrow that they have because of the adversities that they may be suffering on this life.
Thank you, Sonia. That's very touching to know that you have been just so compassionately approaching every single youth that has come in through this program, and to know specifically the tremendous benefits.
Okay.
I thought
Gracias.
she had simultaneous. She's got simultaneous in her ears, so
All right.
you're good for now. So the tremendous benefits, which I think, you know, what we heard from the admin, we didn't get a clearer picture of, that the nutritional value, the recreational opportunities, the emotional support, and particularly as young people who've come through a traumatic journey, a traumatic migration journey, for them to have had the last 5 months, according to you as a provider, this level of growth that is really addressing the healing that is so monumental and must be a priority. So thank you so much for the work that you're doing, for your continued commitment to this program, and for sharing just like the wide array of what a safety net this has been for our youngest New Yorkers. So thank you so much. And Julie, thank you so much for being here with us and for your testimony. And I know KCF-SF does incredibly important work in the gender justice work, and we really welcome you here and for your testimony. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Gracias a ellos por la ayuda brindada.
Thank you.
Thanks to you, because we are grateful about all the help that you have provided to us.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will now call the next panel. We have Ronice Bryant, Gregory Brender, Lisa Schwartzwald, and Nora Moran.
We're all set. Yeah, I do. Nora had to leave.
okay. You can just, let me just put them on that table there. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks.
You all can get started whenever you're ready.
Great. I'm happy to start. Hi, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to testify. My name is Liza Schwartzwald with the New York Immigration Coalition. First, I just want to echo everybody else's call for $20 million at the very least for the Promise New York City program in the coming year. We want to give a lot of credit to all of you and to ACS for really listening to advocates and families on the right way to do this, and it would be a huge waste to let that go. Second, we want to ask the city to invest $4 million to expand the New York Immigration Coalition's LIFE project to support 20 community-based organizations across the 5 boroughs to provide culturally responsive and linguistically diverse outreach, application and enrollment support, referral services, and early intervention supports to immigrant families of 3- and 4-year-olds. The majority of the 165,000 parents in New York City of 0 to 4-year-olds who are limited English proficient in New York City also lack access to a computer. There's about 100,000 that lack access to a computer, so my city's great, but it's not helping those families. And they need a lot more robust community-based engagement and supports to learn about and enroll in 3K and pre-K programs. Our LIFE project has successfully helped over 650 immigrant families enroll in 3K and pre-K by providing that outreach as well as counseling and referral services for other programs that they need. And most critically, 4 out of 5 of those families said they could not have applied without that assistance. So when we're looking at under-enrollment in pre-K and 3K programs, we really cannot think about any of that without considering how much outreach and enrollment has actually been done for limited English proficient and digitally disconnected families. I also want to talk a little bit about the Child Care Block Grant funding, since they mentioned it at ACS earlier. That funding is also blended and braided into 3K and pre-K extended day and extended year programs, which means those programs often also have immigration status requirements. However, they do not need to. Within that block grant funding, there is an exception called the public education exception, or public education exemption. That exemption means that for any program, including public and private pre-K and 3K programs, and pre-K and 3K programs in private child care settings, if those are subject to the same educational standards as your regular 3K pre-K program, you're actually not required to use an immigration status question. The lack of using that exemption, which the state, New York State, can do pretty much tomorrow if they wanted, really means that a lot of the children who could be getting full day and extended year care through those programs are not getting them right now. And it's something that we could do pretty quickly that would open the door for more care for those families. So, you know, we really need to push OCFS to actually utilize that public education exemption, because when they don't, we are right now, I think I last heard, at something like 50% vacancy for those extended day, extended year programs, and we don't need to be. We know that our kids need those services, and we know that they really want them. And then finally, I'm just going to say we also want to ask that all families get, you know, that extended day, extended year option. The public exemption standard is one way that we can expand access to that, and that we make sure that we consider that infants and toddlers still need programming, and that our early childhood educators do deserve pay parity. Thank you.
It is my honor and duty to stand before you on behalf of all restaurant workers, predominantly immigrants, parents, and caregivers. The mission of Restaurant Opportunity Center, Rock, New York, is to improve wages and working conditions for the nation's restaurant workforce. We are thousands of restaurant workers, hundreds of great employers, and thousands of engaged consumers united to raise restaurant industry standards as such. My name is Ronise. I am a mother of a 12-year-old young lady. I worked in the hospitality industry as a server since 2013. I recently became the president of the members board for Rock, New York. As a member since 2018, it is common for many of us as parents to encounter where we must choose between attending work to keep a shelter over our family heads, or in other words, staying home, being unable to pay bills, and still being able to afford childcare for our children. I make $2 over the income to qualify for affordable childcare and housing assistance. Just for $2, I am penalized and provided no federal or state assistance. Childcare support would really mean the world to so many parents like myself. Childcare is essential to me and plenty other parents out here today, so we can return to school and get better paying careers, feed our children, provide better housing, and pay for childcare. I ask that you pass the childcare package to ensure our parents, regardless of immigration status or income, can afford childcare to provide for our families. As a member of ROC New York, the Right to a Thriving Life under Restaurant Workers Bill of Rights policy agenda and framework seeks to ensure workers have access to quality, affordable, federally funded childcare that includes untraditional hourly and night care. Conversely, as an immigrant and restaurant worker, childcare is critical for my family. I must work to make ends meet, but I need access to affordable health care to engage in New York workforce fully. Thankfully, our historic Women Majority Council continues to demonstrate that when women lead and prioritize solutions, our families and communities can positively benefit from it. Promise New York provides access to child care services for undocumented children and their families. The program has partnered with community-based organizations to connect families like mine to new services. It will also help families who previously didn't qualify for other state or federal programs due to their immigration status. In addition to the program, will help newly arrived asylum seekers. The legislation not only addresses symptomatic issues with child care, but also establishes a provider directory, a pilot grant program, and planning processes to advance access across the city. One of the biggest obstacles for my family can often be access to child care, with many parents having to sacrifice jobs because of lack of child care for their family. Many restaurant workers face the consequences at work for their child care responsibilities due to the precarious nature of their child care arrangements. Additionally, with seeking child care with being a considerable stressor, the COVID-19 pandemic also exacerbated the negative impacts on my family. Promise New York steps up and help more New Yorkers, undocumented family, and asylum seekers who wants to have a good paying job to ensure their children are cared for safely. I believe the program is critical and necessary for the New York workforce, as we should not be forced to pull or quit jobs due to inaccessibility and unaffordability of childcare. On behalf of all restaurant workers, mothers, and caregivers, we appreciate the committee's strides towards immigration reform and universal childcare. Thank you.
Thanks so much for the opportunity to testify and really for all of your fighting for high-quality early childhood education. I'm Gregory Brender from the Daycare Council of New York. We're the membership organization of New York City's early childhood provider organizations, and we believe for and fight for a future where all children have access to high-quality early care and education and where the providers are paid a fair wage. And that really also means that no child is discriminated against in receiving an education based on their parents' income or their own immigration status. So we have a few recommendations. Like everyone else, we echo the call to restore Promise NYC at $20 million. We also recommend that DOE allow community-based organizations to directly enroll families. A lot of families who do qualify or who, for childcare are nonetheless concerned about working through DOE's centralized enrollment system, engaging with a big government bureaucracy. Even if the government bureaucracy were to do the right thing, they have a strong relationship with local community-based organizations, so we want parents and families to be able to go to CBOs and enroll directly. We also urge that there be a intensive and multicultural, multilinguistic campaign to enroll families in early childhood programs so that all families know what is available to them, including extended day programs, pre-K, 3K programs, Head Start, Early Head Start, the Promise NYC, all the options that are available to them. We also are suggesting a series of immediate actions to stabilize New York City's early childhood education providers, including ensuring that they are paid on time, fully funding the 3K expansion, converting some 3K seats to extended day, extended year, and funding a new labor contract that finally achieves salary parity for the early childhood workforce. Aside from our testimony, we're submitting testimony from the Empire State Campaign for Childcare, which is a broad grassroots coalition of which Daycare Council is a part. The statewide coalition strongly supports the ask that many have talked about to increase, fund Promise NYC at $20 million, but also has recommendations for New York State to utilize the public education exemption, which Liza talked about. I hope our friends at OCFS are listening to this hearing and will take the action to ensure that New York City, as well as social service districts throughout the state, can ensure that families can access, can use child care programs that are funded through state child care assistance without regard to their immigration status. Thank you so much for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you. Is there somebody on Zoom or no? Okay. Thank you. I just want to say thank you everybody for your testimony. I just want to say very briefly to Ronice, thank you again for your testimony. And I think that the bills that you were referencing, Councilmember Gutierrez holds, that universal child care bill, which I just want to let you know that I am very much so looking forward to holding a hearing in my committee devoted to just that bill, and we have a date for it already. It's September 21st. So proud to co-sponsor it and continue to support Councilmember Gutierrez in championing it. It's a really important bill, so thank you for speaking about it.
No additional questions for me, but I just want to thank you all for your testimonies.
Oh, I have a quick question. It's actually, I'm so sorry. For Gregory, I know that you sit on the task force that came out of a previous package of legislation that was passed, right?
Yeah, I've been appointed to it. It hasn't met yet.
That was going to be my question. Okay, great. Thank you.
And that was the council's appointment, so thank you to the city council for that.
All right, thank you.
No worries at all. Yeah, intimately, just immensely grateful for the intimate partnership that we have between the NYIC and the Daycare Council of New York. Just deeply appreciative of the expertise that you bring and the ways in which you're collaborating with our families and providers on the ground. And I just want to thank Ronice for joining us. I don't think you've testified at any one of my hearings, but it's just really an honor to hear your voice in this. And like particularly on the fact that just by the $2 and what that cost means for families. And so that is an analysis that throughout today, where we've had a rally, we've had this hearing, we have not gotten that perspective. And so we know that despite there being programs available and then Promise NYC, that the eligibility criteria still is so nuanced and complex that it continues to leave out families just by a margin. And so we really thank you for bringing that to our attention. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to acknowledge that we previously had Councilmember Gennaro here in attendance. The next panel is Stephen Morales, followed by Rebecca Charles. And then we will have two witnesses via Zoom, Betty Baez-Melo and Musfika Moshahid. You all can start whenever you're ready.
Chairs Hanif and Kaban, thank you so much for holding this important hearing today. My name is Stephen Morales. I'm the New York Policy Director at All Our Kin. All Our Kin is a nonprofit organization that trains, supports, and sustains home-based family child care educators in New York City. And most of the educators that we serve are in the Bronx, where we work with nearly 300 family child care educators who care for over 4,000 children. Family child care, which is licensed child care programs that operate out of an educator's home, plays an essential role in caring for our city's youngest children. And many parents choose family child care because of its unique ability to offer flexible hours, mixed age group care, and culturally responsive care in a family's home language, characteristics that are particularly important for supporting immigrant children and families. And those are some of the many reasons why we're testifying today in favor of the $20 million for Promise NYC in this city budget, and for ongoing support for immigrant families in need of childcare. The calculus is quite simple. All children need access to high quality early care and education, period. We know how important childcare is for young children's developing brains, and we know how important it is for families who need a safe place for their children while they go to work, and immigrant families are no exception. And from the provider perspective, I've spoken to family childcare educators who have been forced to decide between providing childcare for free or at a steep discount, which they can't afford to do, or turning away children because they don't qualify for a childcare voucher. And no one, frankly, should ever be forced to turn away a child due to their immigration status, not in New York City, not anywhere. So last year, we were really thrilled when the council and the mayor agreed to include the $10 million, and we were part of that fight and appreciate all of your work on that as well for Promise NYC in last year's budget. And we were glad, and we heard a little bit earlier from ACS, we were glad that they took our input and input from other advocacy organizations so that they really thoughtfully implemented this program with the collaboration of other community-based organizations, really meant to protect immigrant families. And what's kind of surprising and bewildering is that all signs show that the Promise NYC program has been a resounding success, serving over 600 families since January. There's more on wait lists. It's a no-brainer to baseline $20 million for Promise NYC in this budget. You know this, we know this, $10 million was enough for a 6-month pilot, so let's make it a full year and ensure that immigrant children continue to have access to the child care they need. And finally, and Councilmember Caban mentioned this, in addition to the $20 million for Promise NYC in this budget, we also must reiterate our support for Intro 941 by Councilmembers Gutierrez and Riley, which would ensure that childcare was permanently accessible to all families in our city and all educators were compensated fairly for their important work. And so we're urging the mayor and the council to keep the promise that was made last year to our immigrant communities, and let's fulfill that promise with $20 million for Promise NYC. Thank you.
And thank you, Chairs Hanif and Caban, for hosting this hearing. My name is Rebecca Charles, and I'm a Policy and Advocacy Associate with the Citizens Committee for Children. We are an independent nonprofit advocacy organization that focuses on ensuring that all New York children are healthy, housed, educated, and safe. Both Promise NYC and the Linking Immigrant Families to ECE, or LIFE project, have been pivotal initiatives for New York City's immigrant communities, ensuring access to subsidized childcare for families who would otherwise not qualify due to federal regulations. For our city to remain a trailblazer in childcare access, these programs must be baselined and adequately funded in this year's budget, as mentioned many times today. We urge you to baseline funding for Promise NYC at $20 million and funding for the LIFE project at $4 million to ensure that hundreds of undocumented families maintain access to care. We also echo the priorities of the Campaign for Children, which would further improve the ECE system for immigrant families who now qualify. Most importantly, we want to stress the importance of restoring the preliminary budget cuts to 3K and keeping the city on track for reaching universality, as well as prioritizing converting unfilled school year seats to full-day, year-round seats for 3K, as well as infant and toddler care. It is also crucial that the city fund a new labor contract that puts early care and education teachers and support staff and CBOs on a path toward parity with their DOE counterparts. This includes factoring in longevity when determining salary increases and setting a wage floor of $25 an hour for all support staff. We must not only expand ECE options for immigrant households, but also sustain and strengthen our existing ECE system so immigrant families can find the care that is right for them. We will be submitting written testimony with a full and elaborate list of our city budget priorities. Thank you again for this opportunity to testify.
Thank you. We'll now call Betty Baez-Mello, followed by Musfika.
You all should still stick around.
Shahid. Yes, please stick around if you are on this panel. Betty, you can go ahead when the sergeants call time.
Starting time.
Great, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to discuss early childhood care and education for children who are undocumented. My name is Betty Baez-Mello, and I'm an attorney and the director of the Early Childhood Education Project at Advocates for Children of New York. I apologize for having technical difficulties, so I'm not appearing on video. Hopefully you can all hear me. We believe that every child should have access to high quality early childhood care and education programs. As such, we were pleased when the city launched Promise NYC to increase access to early childhood programs to children who are undocumented. Unfortunately, the mayor's executive budget does not include funding for this crucial initiative, and hundreds of children risk being turned away from the program after June. Many childcare and preschool programs, including the Department of Education Extended Day and Year 3K and Pre-K programs, require families to qualify for childcare assistance in order to enroll. These programs have historically excluded children who are undocumented, citing state and federal restrictions on their eligibility for subsidized care. Since its launch in January, hundreds of families of children who are undocumented have been able to secure childcare funding through Promise NYC to attend a variety of early childhood programs. Several hundreds of other families are currently on wait lists seeking care for young children. Unfortunately, this funding is set to expire at the end of the month, meaning that children risk losing a seat in their program and new families will be unable to apply. At a time when New York City has seen an increase in immigrant families, we ask for continued funding for this initiative so that children are not excluded from programs based on their immigration status. About 40% of the thousands of newly arrived immigrant children are ages 0 to 5. Access to early care and education is critical to helping them prepare for success in elementary school and beyond, while also enabling their parents to work, connect with resources, find permanent housing, and settle in their new communities. In fiscal year 2023, the city allocated $10 million to serve approximately 600 children from January to June 2023. To maintain capacity for the full year, we are calling on the city to baseline $20 million in fiscal year 24 for the Administration of Children's Services budget for Promise NYC. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. We'll now have Musfika Moshahid. You can go ahead when the sergeants call time.
Starting time.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chairwoman Shahana Hanif and Tiffany Kaban, and everybody else that is present. Thank you so much for the opportunity to testify today on such an important issue. So my name is Mushfika Moshahid. My pronouns are she, her, and I am representing the Muslim Community Network, a nonprofit organization here in New York City working to empower the Muslim community through community service and civic engagement. I'm the Muslim Women's Program Coordinator at MCN. Having access to childcare is something that has been an incredibly empowering experience for women and individuals with children, and it's something that we've seen firsthand at MCN through our Muslim Women's Program and our other programming. So our women's program essentially serves older Muslim women who usually tend to be mothers, and so it was a priority for us to make sure that we provided childcare for our participants. As a result, not only have we been able to support our participants and their participation in the program, we've also been able to provide work opportunities for undocumented women and other immigrant women we have hired to do the childcare work. As of now, we have 7+ childcare workers that we regularly work with across our programming. Thanks to the childcare that was available to them, our women were able to engage in our program and participate in educational workshops around civic engagement, registering to vote, learning how to reach out to their city council members and representatives. They also were able to engage in Know Your Rights workshops regarding ICE, regarding hate crimes prevention, self-defense, and so much more. Not only that, but women were able to just relax and enjoy being in community with each other. They were able to forge friendships with each other and explore their identities outside of being mothers and homemakers, while also knowing that their children were still being cared for and taken care of. We have now, as a result, made it a priority as an organization to provide childcare wherever possible across our programming because we've seen the positive impacts it can have firsthand. Having access to childcare allows women, especially undocumented women, to explore their educational opportunities, to explore job opportunities, and just explore any opportunity that allows them to develop themselves personally. We believe every woman and parent deserves the opportunity to explore their potential, explore their interests, and do this while knowing that their children are still being taken care of. Not only do parents deserve this relief, but children deserve this care too. Children are, we have to begin to understand that children are an oppressed group, and so they don't often have a voice within our society. And so it's up to us as adults to advocate for them and to support them. I believe it's the collective responsibility of all of us within a shared community to care for the safety and well-being of all children, regardless of whether or not we are parents ourselves. And so it's up to us to ensure that every child, regardless of their immigration status, of their own or their parents' immigration status, gets the same opportunity, same care, and same priority as any other child. In general, I think childcare, caretaking, homemaking, and other forms of domestic labor have long been underappreciated and undervalued within our society. And it's time we prioritize this work and move towards a future where we live in a society where these forms of labor are seen as just as important, necessary, and deserving of as much
Time has expired.
compensation, investment, and care as any other job. I highly encourage the City Council and the Mayor to prioritize this program and include it within the new budget. Thank you so much again for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you. I just want to thank Mushfika for your testimony, and it's really heartwarming to know that the Muslim Community Network is going through a organizational cultural shift and ensuring that childcare opportunities are available for every program and for greater participation. And I also appreciated the emphasis on just women's joy and like we've tied so much of today's conversations around work and the need to be able to work, and the other part of that is also just childcare also means that women get to, and other parents get to just grow and be able to focus on their own development. And so Mushfika, thank you so much, and commend Muslim Community Network's work in ensuring childcare access. I have a question for Stephen. Could you walk us through the training process that you mentioned in your testimony? What does that look like for childcare educators? What's the leadership pipeline? Are we seeing a need for more for folks within that expertise as we roll out an expansion of various childcare programs?
Absolutely. So for home-based family childcare, which are the educators that we support, there's really limited infrastructure that the state and the city provides. There's, if an educator wants to become a licensed childcare professional, they have to take a series of trainings. They have to fill out applications. They have to make sure that their program meets, that their home space meets safety requirements. Our organization kind of fills in a lot of those gaps. We have a person on staff who walks people through the licensing process so that they have an actual liaison and someone that can work with them to navigate the process. Otherwise, for the most part, they're on their own. And so so that's what our work is really about, and then giving them that additional educational training, that business training that really supports them holistically as early childhood professionals and business owners. And I think the city provides some of that through some DOE family child care networks, and those organizations do good work. But I think broadly speaking, we need to do more to invest in the pipeline, like you said, of family child care providers, because they're a crucial component of our child care system.
Thank you. No more questions for this panel.
Thank you. We will now call the next panel. We have Ingrid Chungara and Pedro Suarez. Ingrid, you can go ahead when the sergeants call time.
Thank you.
Starting time.
Thank you to Chair Hanif and Caban and the Committee on Immigration and Women and Gender Equity for holding today's hearing, for the opportunity to testify. The Committee for Hispanic Children and Families, better known as CHCF, is a citywide agency with community contacts throughout the 5 boroughs. Like so many organizations in the community that are receiving the recent arriving immigrants, our school-based programs and our newly opened Bronx office has seen an influx of Spanish-speaking migrants reaching our Alpha support in settling to New York City. Our community empowerment team has been working to offer one-on-one needs assessments and connection to resources included but not limited to school, childcare access, housing, food, and mental health supports and immigration. We just recently additionally grown our services and support for the recently arrival asylum seeker family through a new partnership with Housing Works, where our team is coordinating the services of family housed in a hotel, assisting in linguistic responsive navigation of available resources and benefits. While families are navigating housing, employment, immigration process, so many more intersecting needs, it is crucial that we are supported in assessing care and education for their children. We know the impact of having access to high quality education, affordable care, and early learning, as well as access to high quality, culture responsible, and sustaining pre-K through 12 great opportunities on children development, academic growth, and lifelong success. At CHCF, we continue to hold concerns about our administration's shifts in position of investment for Universal 3K. Even before the influence of newly arriving immigrants, many advocates argue that many receive lack of demand for 3Ks is inaccurate. We continue to see a high demand for full day year care and early learn for ages 0 to 3 years old. Is the issue of insufficient availability of these extended day year slots to meet the need citywide. With the migrants coming in, it's a further worth uplifting that while undocumented families can access the 3K day year services, they have historically not have been access to 0 to 2 and extended day year-round care because of its reliance on federal child care development block grant. Funding, as we know, the council $4 and $110 million in fiscal year 2023 budget for undocumented child access to the child care. Promise New York has successfully been able to support hundreds of families and children in accessing care for a 6-month period. We must not stop
Time has
there.
expired.
For those that are already enrolled, we must maintain those services.
Thank you. Next, we have Pedro Suarez.
Starting time.
Good morning, Chairperson Shakar Krishan and Tiffany Caban and members of the Committees on Immigration and Women and Gender Equity. My name is Pedro Suarez, pronouns he, him, and I am the Program Director at LIFT New York. LIFT New York is a chapter of LIFT, a nonprofit organization on a mission to break the cycle of poverty by investing in parents. We operate a one-on-one coaching program that empowers parents to set and achieve goals that put families on the path toward economic mobility, such as going back to school, improving credit, eliminating debt, or securing a living wage. In addition to coaching, LIFT parents also receive direct cash infusions to reinvest in their families and goals. Thank you for the opportunity to testify on the important issue of childcare for immigrant parents and the millions of men and women ineligible for federally funded childcare. Our perspective on childcare and the needs of immigrant communities comes from our own program experience. For the past 23 years, our organization has been effective at supporting low-income families with children who are seeking basic needs such as housing, employment, and food assistance. Participants are referred to LIFT through partnerships with community colleges, healthcare systems, and early child care providers. Our immigrant parents face unique challenges in achieving their career and education goals, in addition to the systemic barriers faced by parents living in poverty across the country. A significant number of LIFT families are undocumented, and we partner with immigrant families to find stability and move toward economic mobility. Data as of 2022 show that between 2021 and 2023, LIFT enrolled over 300 women into our program. 75% have completed the program. The average length of stay in our program is 12 to 24 months, with the average age being 35 years of age and the average child 8 years old, and 99% of members identify as part of a racial or ethnic minority group, with 54% of members speaking English as their primary language. Promise NYC will indeed be a game changer for the 600 children who will benefit from the program as part of LIFT New York. I would like to applaud the city's efforts in working with CBOs and ACS to launch this initiative. As you're all aware, undocumented immigrants are integral to the city. Just over 1 million New Yorkers live in a household with at least one undocumented immigrant, and 88% of the 276,000 children in these households are lawful residents. The city has already identified the need to leave no child behind. We look forward to continuing to work with the City Council and receive support on how to improve the delivery and coordination of childcare services for this vulnerable population. Thank you for the opportunity to testify here today.
Thank you.
Thank you to Pedro and Ingrid. Pedro, you missed Shekhar Krishnan. I'm actually Councilmember Shahana Hanif.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No worries at all. No worries at all. Thank you both for your work and for testifying.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. At this time, we do not have any other witnesses signed up to testify. If we have inadvertently missed anyone, please see the sergeants if you are in the room, or use the raise hand function on Zoom if you have not been called. Seeing no additional hands or witnesses, council members, would you care to say a few words?
Sure.
I mean, I don't think that it needs to be said. The testimony was incredibly, incredibly clear. This city and our communities, particularly our undocumented immigrant neighbors, have been falling through the cracks. Childcare should be something that is accessible by every single New Yorker. We know the impacts, and we heard it today, of having childcare versus not having access to that care. We know specifically that Promise NYC filled a gap that was not being filled by any other agency or program across the city, and that it was a literal lifeline for some 600 plus families. And we also were able to know without question that the demand far outpaced the capacity. And so while there's a lot to commend about the program, it's also really clear that it needs to be scaled, not defunded down to $0. And so I hope that the administration takes that to heart, and that we see the $20 million allocated to Promise NYC in the ultimate budget. It's really, really clear just how essential that funding was and would continue to be going forward. And thank you very much to everybody who came and testified.
Thank you so much, Chair Caban, and to everyone who joined us from the administration and our agency partners, to everyone who testified, to our interpreter on site, and to everyone who made this afternoon's hearing super successful and informative. I just want to echo my colleagues' sentiments here. We know just how critical and integral the Promise NYC program has been, and discontinuing it, divesting from it, is really life-threatening. And so I was especially moved to hear from some of the organizational partners who are also equipping their organizations to be forward and ensure that they have childcare access for their programmatic initiatives, and the value that has added to the lives of the parents, to all of the children, is really so many. And so I will continue to work with Councilmember Caban. We know that the Comptroller, Brad Lander, has also been intimately involved. We've got allied council members here, and as a council body, we will continue to push for the $20 million investment. Thank you all so much for joining us. More soon.